Whoa, we're back with some Bleach Soul Resonance, and we're going to be doing a little bit of a showcase here. I want to take a look at Mayuri, because Mayuri is the man of the hour. Mayuri's probably going to be buffed in the next day or two, either the day that this is posted or the day right after. That seems to be the sort of rumored line we're treading here. But I want to take a look at Mayuri because I think that he is sort of being understated in what he does. I'm not saying that he obliterates, mops the floor with Kisuke Urahara. He gets Kisuke out of here. Or that you need to pull him 100% of the time, especially if you're running low on resources. You can see that I've actually stacked up 13 tickets here, 2 tickets here, and I actually have quite a bit of to exchange if I wanted. I'm holding on to these, but yeah, I've got a full 10 pull right there. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I don't know, we're slowly making back some resources. We're gonna be pretty ready for Soifon when she actually releases. So, like I said, and this is like week 1, right? We're 16 days left of this banner, 15 days left of this banner, I guess technically, because we only have 5 hours on this one left, which means that we've been here for what is it, 5 days, 6 days, something like that. Like we haven't even finished week 1. We still got a bit of content left to do. We have gotten most of the tickets here, and so on and so forth. Blah, 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 blah. I'm getting ahead of myself. Either way. So 35,801 total power. We did dust a few core stamps. So we dusted our Tosin core stamp. So Tosin does not have his core stamp anymore, and we dusted our Ikaku core stamp. He doesn't have his core stamp anymore. We dismantled those. We've also picked up the second level of his bond effect, which we have him running alongside Kisuke's bond effect. So nothing has changed about these characters as much as I can possibly help it. Here is my Kisuke. He has 153% ult charge and 215% crit damage, right? He also, unlike Mayuri, has an Ascension Stage 3 core stamp, right? And do I have a weapon dupe? I don't have a weapon dupe. Okay. But very, very similar optics on these characters, right? And we can go over here and check him. 215% ult charge, as well as 232% ailment damage. Remember that one of the big differences is that his core stamp is giving him crit damage, not ult charge. So it's gonna be altered somewhat there. But this is all just to say that these are the stats we're working with, and we're going to be comparing the characters. We're going to do a showcase of the characters, and we're going to see how much they change one another's. And we're going to be doing them with the same team, which is Gin Ichimaru and LL. I have high expectations of this. I have high expectations of Mayuri. I do think Mayuri is currently better than Kisuke Urahara, though I do think he could stand to be even better than he already is. That said, and let's just be clear here. Mayuri is currently performing worse because these two characters, Nelel and Gin, who have had a ton of trouble, are continuing to not function properly. That said, Mayuri not just completely diffing Kisuke is probably for the best. You guys need to sort of remember, just keep in your mind that the two best characters in the game are Yusuke Aizen and Nelel. You could argue Gin because he's so good in the thrust team. I guess you could argue that Gin is there too. So Nelel and Aizen are doing the most in the entire game for teams. And then Urahara is still in the conversation every single time. Imagine if they made a Urahara that was 2 or 3 times better. How would you... Urahara is already an anomaly. This character shouldn't be as good as he is, if we're being honest. They shouldn't have wanted a standard unit to be this much better than Byakuya, Komomura, Tosin, Ikaku. You know what I mean? This character is better than the first 2 limited characters that released. Until Aizen released, we didn't have a character in the game that was better than Urahara. So I think this character is a little bit of an oddity. So to have a character like Mayuri, who is Urahara for ailment teams, but a little better, is fine. I don't think they needed to make Urahara or Mayuri so much better. That is just my opinion, of course. If you are disappointed, or you wish your characters, or maybe you love Mayuri, you want him to be the best in the game, or you just think that you won't pull for anything unless they're the literal top 1 or something, sure, that's fine. But I think Urahara is a complete oddity. I think that character is way more broken than maybe they thought they were going to be. But yeah, we're going to be taking it into free practice. We're going to try Kisuke Urahara setup, then we're going to try Mayuri setup. I'm not going to record the Urahara one, though. Please just take me on my word when I say I'm going to be like locking in for both of these. So whatever the damage outcome ends up being is what it ends up being in the ultimately. So, you know, there's no funny business. I don't work for New Verse or whatever the company is. I don't get paid to make you buy the characters, right? This is going to be just a showcase of what they look like. You saw their stats, so yeah, let's get in the actual showcase and see how they do. So here we've got the actual fight coming in, and we're starting off with Mayuri to get the buffs up and switching into NLL really quickly. I feel like I took a bit to get this video out just because I wanted to make sure I had the sort of like comfort of the rotations down. I've obviously been putting out other videos in the meantime, but you know, now that we're on sort of the precipice of another, you know, patch where, you know, we need to get NLL and Gin fixed in some way, as well as how that pertains to Mayuri. You know, I figured it'd be good to get the data out here, get the actual example of what the characters are up to here. That way we have something to compare. But yeah, one thing I would say, how am I feeling about Mayuri in general? One, I think he does exactly what he needs to. He's not a character who takes up a bunch of time on the team, and it's really great, right? It's really great. So we get the quick switch in here. We go right into NLL. One thing he does do is he gets NLL her ult really fast. I feel like I don't know if that's like a consequence of him or what have you, but I feel like NLL ults so fast now. And yeah, he's just a not very selfish character. I mean, he's a support, so obviously he's not very selfish, but it's... What do I want to say here? If you've done the harder content, like right now I'm trying to beat the Noitada fight in the trial towers, and one thing that happens with Kisuke is he is vulnerable to getting hit out of his special attack, and people don't talk about that. And I get that people don't talk about that because for the most part, you know, this is like a DPS race game, right? We haven't really gotten fights where, you know, the boss is pressuring you super hard and you need to use dodges to sort of, you know, alleviate pressure and then do your attacks within those perfect dodge windows, sure. But when it does come up, you do notice that we're missing out on like time off field rather because of this. And 2.3 million, almost 2.4 million there, right? From Gin. I don't think I've ever had his ult hit that hard. That is a consequence of Mayuri's crit damage buff as well as NLL's. And again, I would suggest 7.2 million there. I would suggest if you have any leftover standard characters, I would suggest dusting their core stamps and just giving them to Mayuri's. I'm not gonna lie, if you can find 5 of those materials, you know, like if you have an Ikaku or, you know, another character you literally just don't plan to use, Tosin and Ikaku are the ones I would say essentially have no value anymore, so long as you have NLL, right? You've got a like very, very powerful thing sort of in waiting, and you can see I fumbled the execution there. I really locked in for these. I did both a run with Kisuke Urahara and I did one with Mayuri. Same team, same items, same setups, everything the same, just to get as even a distribution as possible. And I locked the fuck in. I felt like the rotations were really flowing well, and there isn't any like shady business going on. I mean, you guys know me. Why would I lie? I'm not a whale. I'm not trying to get you to spend money. I don't spend money on the game really, besides the $5, which I asked if you guys would be okay with. So it's not like I've got some like deep incentive to get people to pull for Mayuri. So when I say that like I locked in for these rotations so that I could get as even a spread as possible, just know I locked in. If I fumbled into 1.9 million there, by the way, I feel like again, Gin is hitting really, really hard in those ultimates, like much more than I feel like I've seen him hit. Maybe it's like placebo or something, but I feel like I never hit that hard with Gin's ultimate. And I think it is a consequence of Mayuri's crit damage buffs. But we get one more final little rotation here. And we're going to go to the damage numbers after this. 3, 2, 1, I think. Seto comes out. Oh, we get a little bit more. We're getting a little bit more juice. So finishing up here. And 3. Oh, it's hanging. 2, 1. Bang. And there you sort of have it with our Mayuri and our Urahara runs completed. You can see the Kisuke Urahara runs over here with the 168 total damage there. Mayuri, on the other hand, is clocking in at 192. Again, no one is different here. These are the same characters. The only things that are different are the Urahara and the Mayuri, right? So these, this is as fair can get. What we do see from Mayuri is he was able to push Nelel's damage output more, as well as Gein's damage output more. The weird thing is I was actually sort of worried for Mayuri, because I did get a run where I feel like every ult lined up with the spiritual pressure break during the Kisuke one. But what really ends up happening is just Mayuri's overall crit damage support that is essentially completely free, alongside with his ability to break the enemy, feels really strong. I think if you have a bunch of maybe if you have a bunch of boundary 6 characters like these two guys, like if you have boundary 6, you'll see a different outcome. But realistically with Nelel, when she gets her B2, is just giving so much crit damage support, and combined with Mayuri's, which Urahara, I mean, I have a ton of crit damage in this guy. It's something like, he's giving something like 67%. Oh, plus 6, 7. He's something like that. Like, he's giving a lot from my build, but it's not nearly as consistent as Mayuri's just like dominance in that field. So we do end up with about a 30 million difference, I guess, closer to, what would it be, 24 million. Let's just be let's be completely fair to Urahara. It's not 30 million, it's about 24 million, which I think is really good. Like I said, it means that, hey, now your Urahara has a team he can go to. Instead of having him, you can X these two out. Now you can bring Aizen, or you can bring Toshido, or you can be Bankai Ichigo and Kenpachi and all this stuff, right? And we have a very clear character who's not only like really good now, but is going to get, stocks, rising once these two characters here actually get their bugs fixed again. One reason I'm not too down on bug fixes is, I don't know, it just seems like the dev company is working really hard. So when there's bugs, when there's stuff, is it annoying? Is it sad? I mean, sure, but it's not. I mean, these are mobile games, dog. I could make a billion videos going, they're bugged. Oh my god, they're bugged. It's ruined. But you guys don't want to hear that, right? I mean, I'm sure you'll get one of those videos out by people. They'll be like, oh my god, the bugs. And then you kind of want to come here and just, we take it easy over here. So, yeah, I think this is pretty fair, like I said. So we got 168 to round up, or to finalize. 168 for Urahara, 192 for Mayuri, and we'll go back in game and wrap up. And yeah, so there you essentially have it. I think the thing about Mayuri, and this is going to come down to like a resource that is harder to obtain, is it's going to be very difficult for a lot of players to get this. And the thing about it is, every single time you get even one of these core stamps, you increase that crit damage gain by 20%. So I could go up to 60% more here, I believe. And that's a lot. That is a ton of crit damage for essentially free. I mean, Terror is not something that is hard to be gained. Like, it is not one of those mechanics that is sort of being run from or what have you. I can't remember where exactly is ult, or it's I don't remember where Terror actually exists, right? It's just like it's one of these many things that Mayuri is putting on the people, right? So, but yeah, I think combined with that, combined with the fact that we're gonna get 20% more ailment mastery here, yeah, he's looking really good. He's looking very, very good. I think I think Mayuri just ends up being the peak of the supports as we have it. We are going to get boundary buffs, so if you do have something like this one right here, or I think B6 is the other one that was buffed, this one right here, you know, your reason to like go explode upwards, because again, the thing about support boundaries that we've seen is that they're very selfish. Outside of Kisuke Urahara's second one right here, he mostly has things that help himself. I mean, this one right here is obviously going to buff his crit damage buff. So hey, if you have a B6 Kisuke, maybe you could be like, well, he's outperforming my Mayuri and he is a free-to-play character, right? So there you have it. Like that'll be great. But most people don't. It's really hard. It's not like easy to just get a bunch of these tickets for free, right? You'd have to get a very lucky account. So yeah, there's Mayuri. Very similar makes. I mean, literally within 140 points of each other on the power scale. Very similar overall stats in general. Very similar dupe levels in the core stamp, things like that. So yeah, that's gonna do it. With all that being said, though, I've been Lone. Like if you like the video, subscribe to join the club. We all go make it, and peace.